That is what you would call pretty. I'm gonna give you the raw lowdown on this tool and tell you how it really was out on the trail in the real world, where it sucks and how this thing broke. Is this EDC toolkit worth the money? Is it still relevant in 2020 with big brands out now like Specialized all offering integrated toolkits for your bike, as well as other brands offering other systems which you can have and carry tools with you on your rides? This is my long-term experience with this EDC tool from OneUp Components. For those that are not familiar with the EDC tool, here's the lowdown. It's an integrated toolkit that fits inside the steerer tube of your fork on your mountain bike. You can also integrate this with your mountain bike by purchasing the tire pump, which this fits inside of. If you need to use this, you pull it out your stem and you crack it open just by bending it slightly. It breaks into 3 parts, which are the tire lever, chain breaker and spoke tools on the one, the EDC multi-tool, and then lastly you have this piece of plastic, which is the holder and the cartridge that fits inside the stem that holds it all together, plug tool, as well as chain link holder. If you don't have the plug tool installed in this part, this will be the CO2 cartridge holder. On this multi-tool, these are the size hex keys you're gonna get: 2mm, 2.5, 3mm, 4mm, 5mm, 6mm and an 8mm. That it's actually pretty clever because the 6mm and the top cap tool forms an 8mm hex key. It also has a T25 Torx flathead screwdriver, as well as the EDC top cap tool, which is essentially a very simple version of a cassette tool. And on that is also a chain link removal tool. Huge shout out to my patrons. You boos are amazing. If you are a fan of this channel, you like it, you want to support it, head on over to my Patreon account for earlier videos, longer videos. For a couple of bucks a month, you'll be helping the channel out, and all that money goes straight into creating more videos like this. This toolkit is problematic from the start. Firstly, the problem comes with the installation of this. If you're planning to install it in the fork of your bike, you have to take it into a bike shop and they have to tap out some screw thread on the steerer tube of your fork, which makes it a bit of a pain in the ass because you've got to find a specific bike shop that has those tools. Good luck to that. But no worries, there's also 2 other ways of carrying this around with you. The second being carrying it on its own inside your backpack, and the third being purchasing the tube pump from OneUp Components, which this EDC tool slots into. That will integrate with your water bottle cage on your bike, and you'll be able to carry this around with you on every ride. This would be the last tool that I'm reaching for if I'm in a workshop. The tool is very small and it's pretty awkward to use in real life. One thing you're definitely not going to be doing is loosening any stubborn bolts of this. They've made provision for an 8mm hex key on here. 8mm bolts are generally torqued pretty tight. Because of the size of this tool, you're not going to be loosening that anytime soon. You sometimes have to resort to extending all these tools out like that, and then you get a little bit more leverage, but these parts here at the end do dig into your palm. The chain link removal tool is really awkward to use. I struggled quite a bit to disconnect a chain link with this tool. Most of the other tools function fairly well. The chain breaker works well, as well as the spoke keys on this, so you can get in between those spokes pretty easily with this. And if you need a little bit of extra leverage with the spoke tool, it's hard now to do it, but you can just turn it slightly and then you get some leverage from this tire lever. I've tried to use this tire lever before, but it is super small and super awkward. I've got better tire levers in the workshop. I didn't want to purchase the original mod for this tool, so I made my own by just purchasing a normal tire plug tool, cutting the handle or filing it down and then epoxying it inside this part of the EDC. It works really well for plugging tires as well as stabbing jackers out on the trail. The absolute worst part of this tool is the headset tightening tool. This thing is which is getting to another limitation on this. If you do have this installed on the steerer tube of your fork, this takes its own design top cap for the steerer tube, where this would slot in to the steerer tube and through the top cap. You're only able to tighten that top cap with a cassette tool. So out on the trail, it's a bit of a pain in the ass, or you can try and use this tool that's designed on this multi-tool. But this thing is real. This strips that top cap very, very, very easily. So it's best just not to use that at all. Which leads you to another problem. If you are a traveler, then you have to carry a cassette tool with you on every journey that you go on. So yeah, mine's pretty it's like broken in half. This tool is very expensive. Just to replace this little tool is 600 South African rands. That's just about $40 US to replace just this little tool. And it's going to break again. They've machined this so small that on the hinge, there's so little meat, it's going to snap there. Which is what happened with this one, by me trying to loosen my front axle bolt. I only use this tool for emergency situations because that's really all it was good for. I would call it more of a emergency situation tool than an everyday carry and use tool. Don't go out and use this as your main toolkit because you're just going to be disappointed with it. Because of the sheer price of this, I wouldn't even bother purchasing this again because there are a lot better options out that are fairly cheaper. For instance, just buying a strap for your bike where you can strap a tube on as well as a multi-tool and a CO2 cartridge along with a dispenser, which complicates life a little bit less because I can put my proper headset top cap on my bike and tighten it whenever I need to out in the trail. If you have any questions about this tool, I'll be glad to answer it. Leave it in the comment section below. Smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you aren't a subscriber already, and that notification bell so you are notified every time I drop a video. Thanks for hooking up with me today. I'll catch you on the next episode.